Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is your favorite dark sorcerer here. And tonight I want to kind of cover some basis on personal thoughts, um, personal views of what's been transpiring in my life. And it's mostly through the traditions that I've been practicing and how it's affecting my everyday to life. Okay. And I kind of want to give this as a personal testimony, if you will, of views, of insights through experience, even. The reason why I want to do this is because of tonight's events. I got the sense that this is something that needs to be done. And when the spirits talk, I listen. So here it is. Over the last few weeks to a month, I've been really hitting the books, doing a lot of a lot of rituals, a lot of studying, practicing, a lot of cross referencing, and I've been hitting the ritual room just about every night. I've been walking roughly 4.2 miles to and from a cemetery or cemeteries, depending on which one I go to, and when I am communing with spirits as a necromancer, I don't always get the result that I want or that I'm seeking, especially in rituals. But there's something to be learned from it, though. For an example, we had something going on that we've been trying to do over the last couple of days. And today, we hit the last possible place in town or a nearby town that would be hopefully able to hook us up. And I prayed to the spirits. I opened up, myself up into the world, up to their influence, and I petitioned whichever spirit was willing to help us in this particular field. Okay. And this was before we went into the meeting. Now, I thought the meeting went pretty good. It was definitely in our favor, but something changed. The individual that we talked with was really for us. She was really rooting for us. But when she reached out to these subsidiaries to try to hook us up, not one of them had the balls to step up to the plate and say, "We'll take that chance." Not one of them. The doors did not open. Now, that could have been because of one of two things. One, this is not the time and place for this, or two, we're not meant to go through that company. Either way, the spirits just didn't intervene. They didn't open up the doors. They didn't, help us out or hook us up. Even though we did the footwork and literally jumped in face first, we took that chance. So to see how that literally came back to bite us in the ass was kind of an interesting thing. I mean, even my better half looked at me and said, "Are you cursing this place?" Unfortunately, like I said, that did not work. And I was contemplating the fact that this is the second day of my week's vacation. Okay, that's 5 days out of work. Okay. I'm literally in between jobs. Okay. I got done with Duncan on Wednesday of this week, and that was my official last day with them after putting in my 2 weeks because the spirits, the cards, everything was telling me it's time to go forward. It's time to take that chance. It's time to move on. And I start my new job this coming Tuesday. And what's interesting is when I had the interview, I was asked about the type of pay that I was looking for, to start out with or to get. And I put down the same price, the same rate of pay that I was getting at Dunkin'. And it kind of surprised my interviewer because of the fact I think she was expecting me to say more than what I did. Like I was meant to have more, maybe, I don't know, 16, $20 an hour. I don't know. But I put down 14, and I even told her 14. So we both agreed, the 5th. So come on in for orientation and stuff like that. She hired me on the spot, like I said in my last, well, the video before last. So here I am. I'm finally done with Duncan. I feel awesome. Okay. I literally feel I wouldn't say up in the clouds, you know, but I'm completely relaxed. But there was a part of me today that I don't know what it was. It just felt like something was there, like an adversarial spirit, something hindering. I was kind of annoyed in some area. Other time, other moments, it was like I just didn't give a fuck. So it was one of those things where I wanted to rip somebody's head off. And it was interesting because I started, I was out at my mother's house doing laundry, and there was a lot of adversarial stuff. Like I said, um, I was on this off and on talking to certain individuals, and by the time I left, it was just a part of me that just I was tired. That's the best way I can put it. I was tired. It was like I had I had no care in the world. It was like something in me had just given up on the world. Okay, so we went shopping, picked up about $61 worth of stuff, came back here. I went into the ritual room, lit the candles, lit the incense, had one familiar that came in with me. Lasted roughly about 5 minutes before he's like, "I want to get the fuck out of here." So it's like, okay. So I turned around. I ended up putting on some music, to help me relax. And I just felt the need just to talk, just talk to the spirits. You know, in some cases, this would be viewed as venting. Okay. When you get home, you vent to your significant other, or you go and you sit down with your boss and you vent to them about what's going on in the workplace or in your life or whatever. And this is why I'm kind of frustrated or pissed off or whatever the fuck you want to call it, you know? But in this case, every time I ask the spirits for something, it's a 50-50 thing. It's literally a 50-50 thing. Why? Because the spirits are not going to do everything for you. Okay? They're just not going to do everything for you. They want you to put the work in. They want you to put the effort into your dreams, into what you're trying to gain. This is why they teach you and guide you to the materials that will best suit you. But in this, I was sitting there and I just let loose, you know? I just sat there, I called on them, and I just said, "Hey, it feels like you guys just don't give a fuck about us. Have I not worshiped you enough? Have I not given plenteous and beneficial offerings to you, both in blood and finances? Have I not become more and more adept and astute in the arts that you have led me into? Have I not done what you've asked? Have I not been led by the Spirit and walked by faith within your traditions? You told me to go to this certain point. I've gone to those points out of faith for a number of years. I've traversed this country from one end to the other. I've blown through countless boatloads of money, from hotels to books to gurus to just gas money, even apartments and food and all that other fun stuff that we have to do. And it feels like you guys don't want to come into my world and help me out to make things better for me and mine. You know what I'm saying? No matter what I do for you, it's like I'm in the short end of the stick. Okay. You see where that frustration comes into play, but you also see where, it can bring doubts in. And this is what I said. I said, look, I don't doubt myself and I don't doubt the magic that I do, the sorcery that I do. I've always leaned upon myself. Now, it's coming to the point where I'm about to stop talking to you guys and stop asking you for advice and for aid and just start doing things myself on a full-time basis. And I went in and I said, I don't know what you expect from me, but I'm willing to listen. I'm I'm literally willing to see what you have in store. It's just frustrating when you get the short end of the stick, even though in your agreements, in your pacts, that things are supposed to manifest. Now, I don't expect things to, I've been around a long time. Okay. I don't expect things to magically pop up out of thin air, you know, like an easy button, like you see on commercials. Okay. That shit just don't fly, you know. It's like any spell or ritual, right, that you do. Not everything's going to be apparent. Not everything's going to be up front. Sometimes it takes days, weeks, months, or sometimes even years. Okay. It took, when I went to Asmodai, and I went to have Astaroth, and I went to Lucifer and Satan, and I made a pact for a family. It took 25 years. It took almost 20 years for me to find my better half. And around the same time, we ended up within about a year having a son. And so, I mean, not everything is going to, manifest overnight. Sometimes it takes years, like I said. So, in this instance, something's going on. I don't know if it's Mercury retrograde. I know a lot of people are talking about it. They're worried about it. They're pissed off about it. And but in my experience, something like this is something that you need to take a look at, sit back, kind of observe what's going on in your life, things that are said, people that you've come across with. There is a reason why this shit's happening. Okay. Because of the fact that it's a lesson of some sort. There's something that you are meant to learn. So to see what's happened today and over the last couple of days since I got done with Duncan, I thought everything was going great. You know, it felt like I was on top of the world. I was getting into Brugeria. I did. I got like 3, 4 pages of just codex. And I believe that's what they call them. Where that little box that has all the cards, all the books in the library. You know, that's the type of notes that I have. Okay, within my grimoire, and it's interesting because of the fact I've been learning so much. I learned how to make scorpion oil. I learned how to make toad oil. And now, today alone, while I was doing laundry, I was studying and I learned how to do and create frog oil. Okay. This is just some of the stuff that I've been learning in Bulgaria. Okay. So it kind of makes you wonder what is going on that I need to learn? What is it that I need to do for you to open these doors for me? Okay. This is why I went in and I meditated. And while I was meditating, I started exploring the different religions that I had practiced over the last couple of years. From Haitian Voodoo to Slavic witchcraft to Egyptian and Middle Eastern traditions, from the Hashishin to the Shem priesthood to the gods that I've made pacts with and the deals with, from Anubis to Hecate, okay, to Pazuzu, and even to Chernobog and a few others that I'm not going to name here. And then I ended up going into, like I said, work into Haitian Voodoo, working with Papa Gedi, Baron Simadi, and I went into Santeria. I went back into Santeria and started working with Oya, the Orisha of the dead. She's the goddess of the dead, much like hell in Norse mythology. And then I got back into Palo Mayumbi and delving further into black magic and necromancy. So, I mean, and then all of a sudden, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I ended up getting into Bulgarian, and I ended up starting getting the books from it, started doing Google researches, you know, getting everything I can possibly find on Bulgaria practices. And like I said, and then today, it's like everything just bottomed out. It's like that reverse side of the coin. So it kind of makes you wonder, what was it that I was supposed to learn? What is it that I was supposed to learn? What is it that I'm supposed to see? What is it I'm supposed to come to understand? Okay. And then one term, one little verse came to mind. Become a living God. Become a God. What is it that we as magi, what is it that we as witches and warlocks, wizards even, necromancers, are supposed to do? What is it that we're supposed to do? We're supposed to be the keepers of the knowledge, the wisdom, right? This is according to European traditions. This is where we're supposed to be the wise men and women of these traditions, the healers, those who people go to for guidance. Where did this go wrong? When did it become watered down to where people have lost their balls? I read a post earlier today where a certain animal is considered illegal to own in the United States, but it's a part of a religious practice. Certain items are used in black magic, sorcery, witchcraft in general. When did people lose their cojones to go out and gather these things, to do what is necessary for you, for your ascension, for your growth? There's a reason why you seek gnosis. There's a reason why you seek apotheosis. It is for you to learn, to grow, to master yourself, to master your own world. your own life. It is up to you, each and every single one of you, to grow, to mature, and to evolve into something better, something more powerful. Did you ever stop to wonder why people hate Satanists? Did you ever stop to wonder why people hate necromancers? How about the brewer or the brewer? Why is it that all the stories between Mexico and southern US, such as Texas, result in one of these practitioners being feared? But yet these are the same people, these same practitioners that you seek out when shit goes awry in your life. I want you to think about that. What is it about it? You sit there and claim to be this big shot, practitioners. You've read a book, you've read the books, you claim to practice, but yet you have to seek out others to do the work for you. You see the point there. Why seek out others when you can do the work yourself? I had a chance this morning to get on one of my old sites, something I haven't been on in a very long time. And I found a question by a guy from Kenya. Normally, I wouldn't even bother replying, but this guy, quite frankly, came out and asked about the Illuminati, just flat out. I've been trying to find others in the Illuminati. I want to know about the Illuminati. I don't expect you to help me, but what can you offer? And I told him point blank, this is a satanic organization. We're about self mastery, it's about the individual practice. This is a teaching organization. If you want to learn witchcraft, brujeria, Haitian voodoo, Satanism, Santeria, Palo, the different traditions, then we can help you. But we have nothing to do with the Illuminati. So last time I heard from that guy, it was the last time, and it always ends up the same. It's a big waste of time. You see, this is what I'm talking about. This is what the spirits wanted me to see today. So many people on social media, such as Facebook, don't have the cojones to do a curse. They don't have the cojones or the fucking balls to sentence somebody to death through black magic. They don't have the cojones to literally perform a domination rite or ritual to get what they want or to desire or their desire. They have to sit there and ask questions. I mean, don't get me wrong. Asking questions is how you learn. But if you sit there and constantly ask the same question, that's not learning. That's called stagnation. That's flat out stagnation. Okay? But it was interesting. I'm sitting there, candles going, the incense filling the room, candlelight flickering off the walls. I'm concentrating on the video that's in front of me. and my gaze keeps going to the back candles, the two back candles. The left back candle was flickering like hell. I'm talking full on flicker. And I knew there was a spirit there. I could feel it. I could sense it. No words were exchanged. It's like I just knew what this spirit wanted me to know. It was inside me. The spirit was literally bringing out those thoughts, that direction. And after it was all said and done, I went into a meditative state. I felt peaceful, content, fully relaxed. All that frustration was gone, all because I asked the question. I didn't just give that the spirits, my thoughts or my, the frustrations and kind of just go, well, go verbal on them. No, I didn't just do that. I even mentioned, I just flat out mentioned, look, I'm not trying to piss you off. I just want to understand why. It just feels like you are not upholding your side of the deal. Now, normally, in this case, I would go to Lucifer Jaraphakal and say, hey, such and such a spirit is not upholding the end of the deal. Because Lucifer Jaraphakal is not only the scribe who holds every single deal that any and all practitioners have ever made with a demon or the demonic in general. This is just not one of those instances. Why? Because this is not just one single spirit that I could single out. No, this was spirits in general. Okay. Because I don't just work with the Orisha or the Loa. I work with a wide range of spirits. And there was just something that needed to be put out there that brought this to the head tonight. And that is why it went down the way it did. I got something out of it. I got the answer that I needed to hear, that I needed to know. It wasn't the one that I wanted to know, it was the one that I needed to know. You see, there's a difference between needing to know and wanting to know. Okay? You can demand until you're blue in the fucking face. Doesn't mean you're going to get the answer that you want, but you will receive the answers or answer in general that you need to be hearing. That is why it's important to listen to the spirits, commune with them daily, get to know their essence, their energies, and remember to remain humble. Sometimes you got to get a little rowdy. Sorry for the little country kicking up dust reference there, but sometimes you got to get rowdy and say, hey, I'm feeling frustrated here. I'm feeling like somebody's dropping the ball. But hey, you know, I'm willing to sit here and listen. What is it that I need to do? Because I feel like I've done all this stuff. So what is it that I still need to do? Okay. That is something that I think a lot of practitioners need to hear. Okay. Well, for one, Judy, all right, I'm going to read something to you. If those of you who are watching or will come on later, Judy Carter asks, I can't get mine to ask questions. They just want me to do everything. Any ideas how to get them to ask questions. I've run out of ideas. But before that, she asked, I got the same question in my classroom, but I did tell him we weren't teaching anything about Illuminati. Okay. Well, this is what I have to say about that. It used to be I would just simply block these individuals. But I want you to think about something, Judy. If you were an amateur trying to seek answers, how would you want somebody to reply to you? Okay. Do you want it to be education? How would you teach them the difference between organizations? Okay. It would be like let's say, for an example, a Satanist trying to teach somebody the difference between a Jehovah Witness, a Baptist, a Catholic, without actually being a part of those organizations. Okay. Being a part of the Illuminati is seen as one of two things. First thing is the elite. Okay, that top 1%, those who literally rule the roost, as they say. Okay, we've all seen the movies, we've all heard the myths and the legends surrounding the adversarial group to the Catholic Church, the Vatican itself. Okay, and supposedly they were wiped out back in the 15th, 16th century. Okay, now today's groups are a lot of scammers. That's all they are. They're only in it for this. Okay, come join the great Illuminati, they say. Come on in and we will give you all of this. Okay. Now, if we go back into the JCI Bible, okay, look at the book of Matthew, chapter 4, just out of reference here. Verse 4:4, 4:7, and 4:10 is what you want to pay attention to, Judy. Okay. Right up until that point, from verse 1 to verse 10. And you'll see where their Satan, okay, takes their so-called savior here, there, and everywhere and says, well, if you bow down to me, I will grant you all of this. Number one, who is it? Who are you to offer me anything? Okay. Why would I want you to offer me something when I can work my ass off and get it myself? Okay. I want you to think about that for just a minute. Most of these groups tell you to sign a contract, mail it to them. Okay. They want you to sell your soul, but yet they continuously ask you for money. This isn't the Illuminati. Okay. Because anybody associated with the Illuminati, number one, remains silent. Number two, what is it that you have that they need? What can you offer them? Okay. And what makes you so special that they would choose you? Plain and simple. The Illuminati, you have different groups claiming to be the great Illuminati out of Africa, out of Europe, hell, even right here in the United States. You got groups claiming to be from the Illuminati. I had an apprentice a couple years back. He got contacted just like I had a few weeks before. I told him, you want to know if these people are for real? I want you to ask these questions. Number one, how many times do I have to pay you before I receive the fruits of my labor? Number two, what makes me so special that you want to tap me? And watch what they do. They're going to squirm like rodents in a maze. because they don't have the answer. It's all big scam. And there's a huge difference. Number one, Satanists serve Satan. They are independent contract. I mean, think about the Satanic Creed for an example. The highest law of a Satanist, and this is according to Anton Zander LaVey, the LaVeyan system of Satanism, self-preservation above all else. The second highest, self-gratification. Anything that brings the Satanist, the Satanic witch, or the Satanic warlock, self-gratification is all good as long as it does not violate the highest and number one law, self-preservation. They covet the Satanic statements, the Satanic sins, the 11 Satanic rules of the earth, the 21 Satanic points. But how many of them actually follow these creeds? How many of them actually apply it to their day-to-day lives? Not many. It's like witches and warlocks within pagan and Wiccan traditions. Same exact thing. You look at the way they handle themselves. They speak about this creed. They speak about the law of three. The law of three, karma. Do unto others as you would do unto, or as they would do unto you, right? But when it comes time to act, where's that action? You go into Facebook groups that are run by Wiccans and pagans. 9 times out of 10, you have somebody that's been a practitioner maybe 5 minutes, thinking of themselves to be a master. And then they will gangbang you until you are forced to defend yourself. And as soon as you defend yourself, you're the bad guy or the bad woman. You become the actual Satan to the JCI propaganda within Wiccan and pagan traditions. You're the one that gets booted. But yet, their laws, their creeds, within the rules of their groups, clearly state no harassment, no bullying. Where's the backing up of this? You see what I mean? Same shit, just another story. Okay? So if you want to get into any tradition, you really want to learn, the creeds. That's the first thing I would recommend. Learn the philosophies, learn the practices, all before you get into the rituals and rites. As soon as you have a firm grasp of that tradition, then I would recommend erecting an altar to that particular spirit that attracts you. Like I said, over the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been getting into Brujeria quite heavily. Magia Negra is something that attracts me. I started working with Diablo. El, like I said in my last video, I'm still learning Spanish, so I've been forced to actually get into Spanish. So, El Diablo, the devil. Okay, I started calling out to him. Okay, but here's the thing, I'm also a necromancer. El Necromante. It's me. But there was 3 classes, 3 to 4 classes of practitioner. You see what I mean? Most of the groups, the books, and the sources speak to maybe 3, 4 different deities, saints, if you wish. Others speak to the different types of practitioners: good, light, dark, evil. Others tell stories. You look at The Necromancer by Peter Haining. Nothing but stories from the medieval Renaissance area, the Dark Ages. Prime example right there. You go into Nicholas Remy's book of demonology. Nothing but stories, nothing but chapters based with numerous accusations against certain witches. The dates they were born, the dates that they died, what they was found on them. That's the entire fucking book. It's like the witch's hammer all over again, just written down. Nothing really special about that book, except for chapter one, which defines the three powders found on it. That's it. But you got to get into the traditions. You got to get the lay of the land, the practices, and you got to get into separating the true practitioner from those who just want to be there for show and shits and giggles. You want to know how you can tell the true from the fake? When you ask questions, the one practitioner out of everybody who comments, that one practitioner that gives you references, things to look into, that's who you want to follow. Not these other idiots that sit there and go, well, I got into it because of this, or I think you should do this. Try this. It may benefit you. No. See, anybody who's gotten into any system of sorcery on any given level knows that it's about you. Each journey is different from the other. The journey that I'm on will be different from yours. It'll be different from yours. And your journey will be different from that of the person next to you. Okay? It'll be different from everyone else's. And if you get into multiple different sources, look for the overlapping sections, the commonalities, because that will be the truth. Everything else, consider it dogma. Un How should I say this? Unsupported content. I got a teacher that recommended a book on hermeneutics to me. So I went out and I finally bought it. And when I was reading it, I finally understood exactly what he meant by dogma within that book. He said there's a lot of truth in it, but you got to weed out the dogma. He was right. That book, about 40% dogma, maybe 60 max. If you look at it, 40 to 60% of that was dogma. That's literally 40% truth at best. So when you get into a system, look for those overlapping things. Don't stick to one tradition. Go into them all. One of the things I've noticed about Brugeria, and I know my apprentice is going to pick on me on that one because I have my own way of pronouncing it, but I don't speak Spanish, so I don't have that accent or that actual, you know, um, pronunciation wise of it. You got this practice literally is highly, how should I say this? It's highly adaptable. And you can see why it's been so successful but feared, and why people go to one of these types of practitioners to make injustice into justice. Why is it feared, but yet you try to condemn it, but yet you're the first motherfucker to literally get off your ass when shit becomes real and you go to one of these practitioners? I need your help. This is what's going on. I've been cursed. I got a domination spell on me. What kind of spell is on me? Is it a domination, a binding, a curse? What? What? And they'll most likely do an egg or a lemon, type cleansing on you. There's an egg test that they do, and it's, from what I understand, it's very violently rubbed all over your body from head to toe. And if there's blood in it, when they crack it and put it into water, you got some form of curse. And the more amount of blood in the water, the, well, let's just say it's not a good sign, and leave it at that. Okay. But here's the thing: the lemon rite is something that's very interesting as well. So, I mean, you can see where most of these traditions that have come from either Europe or African based traditions through Caribbean traditions have literally come from both North America and everywhere, conjugated right there, Central America. And I can see firsthand why the spirits dragged me there, into that point at this time. And I could see why, the way I was before I went into that altar room, that this is what I needed to see. And I also know, without a shadow of a doubt, some of you need to hear it as well. Pharaoh Stiller, welcome. Acolon Ramos, what's going on? And Low Key, what's going on? So yeah, there's a lot that is going on. I'm not sure where my new job's going to lead me, or if it's even going to work out. But the fact is I took a chance on it because everything's telling me to move on to it. So I did. Question is, what are you going to do? What are you willing to do? And how far are you willing to go to achieve that apotheosis? That's on you. For now, have a good night.